Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 5 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 5 and then click on view all lessons. So there you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter place values and number sense. And the lessons we're going to cover today are understanding integers, compare integers, put integers in order, and scientific notations. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. So we're going to start with the integers, right? First, we are going to learn what are the integers, how do we apply different operations on integers, right? So what do you know about integers? What do you know about integers? You can write the message in the chat box. Okay, let's just start with the definition of integers, right? So, integers is a special set of numbers that includes, you can note down the definition. Integers are all positive and negative numbers, including zero, right? No fractions and decimal parts allowed. That means fractions and decimals are not allowed, not part of integers. No fractions and decimals included. That is the definition of the integers, right? So integers are all positive and negative numbers including 0. So these are the integers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the other side of the 0 you have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on. Either you write positive sign with them or you write without positive sign, that's exactly the same, right? So 0 is included. Positive numbers and negative numbers, fractions and decimals are not included in the integers, right? That is the definition of the integers. You can note down the definition, right? Let's just understand a bit of the integers. Usually, why do we use integers, right? Whenever we have to, whenever we have to describe an increase, profit, um, increase, positive profit, and whenever you have to represent an increase in profit in anything, right? Like when temperature is increasing, your bank account balance is increasing, you have a profit on something, you always represent it by the positive numbers. Whenever you have to represent the decreases, the loss, right? you can represent the decrease and the losses by the negative number. Negative numbers mean that is a loss, right? For example, you can say a decrease in temperature, right? 5-degree decrease in temperature. You can represent by the negative 5. Negative 5 degrees C. That means the temperature is decreased by 5 degrees centigrade, right? Something above sea level, right? So above sea level, something above that means, so that would be represented by the positive number. For example, positive 15. Also, you can just represent the positive and negative integers on the number line. Here is the number line. Here we have a 0. On the right hand side of the number line, you have all positive numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And on the left hand side of the number line, you have the all negative numbers, right? So on the positive side, as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are increasing, right? They are getting greater by than the previous one. Like for the next number is 7. 7 is greater than 6. 8. 8 is greater than 7. So as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting greater and greater, right? And on the other side, as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. The next one is negative 6, and negative 6 is less than negative 5, right? You have negative 7. Negative 7 is less than negative 6. So as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller, right? That is a very basic intro about the integers. You already, some of you already know these things, right? So that's just a review. Now let's see how do we use integers, right? Just understand the concept of integers, why a positive and a negative sign with them, right? So let's just start with the examples. For example, you have to represent a scenario, right? Profit of $5. How do you represent profit? Positive 5 or negative 5? Which is the correct option? What do you think? You can write down the answers in the chat box. How do you represent this scenario? Profit of, yes, very good. Profit that is represented by the positive 5, right? Okay, the next one is $1 coupon. How do you represent the scenario? With positive 1 or negative 1? Which is the correct option? $1 off. That is a reduction of $1, right? That would be represented by a negative number. $1 off negative 1. Like you have to pay $1 less. That would be negative 1, right? The next one is adding 2 items to the shopping cart. Adding 2 items to cart. Is it represented by positive 2 or by negative 2? That means you are adding. Basically, we are working on integers, right? We're going to see how do we. Integers are all the numbers that are positive, negative, and 0 is also included in integers, right? The other thing is, how do we use the positive and negative numbers? So usually when you have to represent an increase and a profit, you represent it by a positive number. And whenever you have to represent a loss, you can represent by a negative number, right? So they are the integers 0, positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, and on the other side, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and negative 4. So on the positive side, as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting greater and greater, right? The next number is positive 5, 5 greater than 4, then 6, 6 is greater than 5. And on the side, if as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller, right? The next one is negative 5, and negative 5 is less than negative 4. Then you have negative 6 is less than negative 5. And obviously, negative numbers are smaller than 0 and they are always less than the positive numbers, right? Okay, now we're going to learn how do we compare integers, right? Okay, so how do we compare integers? As I just told you, negative numbers are always less than 0 and they are always smaller than positive number. For example, you have to compare two numbers, negative 4 and 3. Which sign you are going to put, less than or greater than? Negative numbers are always less than 0 and they are always smaller than the positive numbers. So negative 3, negative 4 is less than 3, right? Okay. Other example is negative 8 and negative 4. Now you're comparing two negative numbers. How do you compare negative 8 and negative 4? Is it less or is it greater? Here is the number line. Here is 0. Negative 4 is here and negative 8 is. I just explained as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. So negative 8 is less than negative 4. How they are equal? As you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. So negative 8 is less than negative 4, right? Okay, then other example is you have to compare 4 and Hello, can you hear me now? Yes, you can hear me now. So just be patient. Okay, how do we, what we have to do if we have to just in order? How do we put integers in order? Can you see me also? I can hear myself now. Okay, you have to put integers in order. How do you put these integers in order? You have to arrange them from least to greatest. So which is the least one? Negative 2 is the least one. Then you have negative 1, then 1 and 3, right? No, 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 no. Negative 1 and negative 2, just look at their signs. Negative numbers are always smaller than the greater one, right? That means negative 1 and negative 2 are smaller than 1 and 3. Now just look at their signs. Negative 2, just look, I see them on number line. Here you have 0. Here is negative 1 and here is negative 2. Negative 2 is farther from 0 than that means negative 2 is the smallest one. So negative 2 is the smallest one, then you have negative 1. And you can see the positive numbers are 1 and 3. So they are negative 2, negative 1, 1 and 3, right? Okay, let's just do another example. You have to arrange them from least to greatest, right? And the numbers are 4, 0, 2, 3, negative 5. How do you arrange them? Which number is the least one? Which is the least one? You can see they all are the positive numbers except this one. Yes, so that would be the least one, right? And you can arrange the rest of things 0, 2 and 3 and 4. You know they are positive numbers. 0 is the smallest, then you have 2, then you have 3, and then you have 4, right? That's how you arrange numbers from least to greatest. Okay, so let's just start scientific notations. So what do you know about scientific notation? What is scientific notation? And what do you know about scientific notation? You can check your internet connection. I'm not glitching, I can hear myself, so I know I'm not glitching. You can just check your internet connection, please. Okay, so what is scientific notation? What do you know about scientific notation? You can write down in the chat box. Scientific notation is actually another way to express the numbers, right? You can express two large and two small numbers using scientific notation, right? So scientific notation is a way it you can note down the definition, right? It is the way of expressing numbers. And what type of numbers? The numbers that are too large and are too small, right? It is a way of expressing numbers that are too large or too small to be written in decimal form, right? That is the definition of the scientific notation. So the example is, you can write it as, for example, you have 45,000. You can write 45 as 4.5 times 10 exponent 4, right? I will explain why, right? The next one is 7.6 times 10 exponent negative 4. You can write it as 0.00076. Right now I'm glitching. Can you guys hear me clearly now? So let's just start with the examples. How do we write in decimal form, right? Let's start with examples. That is just a definition I'm going to explain right now. Okay. For example, let's start with very simple examples. You have 500. You have to write it in the scientific notation, right? 500 is a positive number, right? You have to write it in the scientific notation. How do you write? How do you write? You have 500, two zeros, right? So you can write it as 5 times 100 exponent 2, 10 exponent 2. Basically, the 10 exponent 2 means you have to do 10 times 10. And 10 times 10 equals 100. You do 100 times 5, that is 500. You just have to write the number of zeros in the exponent form, right? Okay, the next one is the one I just here did here, 45,000. You have to write the answer in the decimal form, right? Because that is just a 5, so you can write 5 as it is. But here you have 45,000. Just see how many number of 0, 1, 2, 3. Basically, you have to do like this. You have to, decimal point is here. You have to move decimal point back. You have to write the answer in decimal form. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to move decimal point 4 digit back from here to here. So it would be 4.5, and you moved it 4 digit back, so it would be 4.5 times 10 exponent 4, right? If you multiply them, 4.5 times 10 exponent 4 is same as 45,000, right? Okay, let's just do another example. For example, you have 0.0677, right? How do you write? You have to move decimal point from here to here, then it would be 6.77, and you move decimal point two places right, so that would be 10 exponent negative 2. Because you are moving decimal point right on the right hand side, that would be negative. When you move decimal point on the left hand side, it would be positive, right? Okay, let's just start with A plus. Let's do practice questions from A plus for all the lessons. So just don't worry, we'll do more test questions. Let's just start with the lesson understanding integers. That's the lesson we have started with today. So let's just start with the practice questions. Which integer represents this scenario? 10 meters above sea level. Is it positive 10 or negative 10? Above sea level, right? That would be positive 10. The correct option is positive 10. Which integer represents the this scenario? 10 inches, 10 fewer inches of rain this year. Is it positive 10 or negative 10? That is fewer rain, right? That means it is negative 10. The correct option is negative 10. Which integer represents this scenario? Profit of $5. Is it positive 5 or negative 5? It would be positive 5 because that is a profit. So it would be positive 5. Which integer represents scenario? Bank account balance drops by $8. So which is the correct option? Drop by $8 means it is decreased by $8, right? So that would be negative 8. Which integer represents this scenario? Price increase of $6. So which is the correct option? I don't know what you are talking about. I don't know how. You can please write down the complete question. No, I'm not in India right now. Increase, that is an increase of $6, right? Increases are always positive, so that would be 6. Which integer represents this scenario? Because I'm not from Canada. Not only India. $1 off coupon, right? That means it is negative 1. The correct option is negative 1. Okay, you can complete the practice questions by yourself later today. Let's just start with the next lesson. The next lesson is compare integers, right? So we have already done how do we compare integers. Let's just see some of the examples. Practice questions. How do we compare integers? Because I'm not from Canada, I'm from Pakistan. Yes. Okay, which sign makes the statement true? Negative 2 and negative 1. Is it greater, less, or equal? Which is the correct option? Can you guys please focus on the lesson we're working on? Which sign makes the statement true? No one is answering the question I'm asking. You guys just keep asking questions and not answering the one I'm asking. Negative 2 is less than negative 1, right? How? Because if you look at the uh, number line, negative 2 is farther from 0 than negative 1. Less than it is, not greater. Just look at the number line. Here is -2 and here is -1. -2 is far from 0 than -1. So -2 is less than. On the negative side, as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller. So -2 is less than -1, right? Which sign makes the statement true? -4. Which sign makes the statement true? Which is the correct option? -4 and -3. What I got wrong? -4. Again, -4 is less than -3, right? Because on the negative side, as you are moving far from 0, the numbers are getting smaller and smaller, right? So negative, if you see the number line, -4 is farther from 0 than -3. So -4 is less than -3, right? Less, 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 it is less. Which sign makes the statement true? -4 and -4 and negative. You are going to compare -4 and 3, which is the correct option? -4 is -4 is less than 3. 2 is greater than 1. Which sign makes the statement true? -4. Negative numbers are always less than the positive numbers, so -4 is less than 4. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is put integers in order. How do we arrange them in order? We have already done some of the practice questions. Let's just do some more practice questions. So put these integers in order from least to greatest. So which is the correct option? How do you arrange them? Which option is the correct one? 1, 2, 3. You can see you have four positive numbers and one negative number, right? So negative number is the least one. Then you can arrange the positive numbers, 0, then you have 2, then you have 3, and then you have 4, right? So it would be -5, 0, 2, 3, and 4. Option number 1 is the correct option. Put these integers in order from greatest to least. So how do you arrange them? You have to write greatest number first and then you have to write the least one, which is the correct option. 1, 2. Very good. The second option is the correct one. You can see 5 is the greatest one. Then you have 2, 3. Then -1 and -5 is the least one, right? So the second is the correct one. Put these integers in order from greatest to least. So which is the correct option? You have to arrange them from greatest to least. Which option is the correct one? 1 or 2? Yes, the second one is the correct option. Very good. 2, -1, -2, and -3. That would be the correct option. Okay, the next one is put these integers in order from greatest to least. So which is the correct option? You have to arrange them from greatest to least. Option number 2 is the correct option. 2, 0, -1, and -2. Very good. The second one is the correct option. Put these integers in order from least greatest to least. So which is the correct option? 1 or 2? Greatest to least, right? Very good. That would be option number 1. Put these integers in order from greatest to least. So which is the correct option? All numbers are positive, so that would be the second one. Greatest to least, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Put these integers in order from least to greatest. So which is the correct option? Yes, the correct option is option number B, right? Okay, we are done with the lesson. Let's just move on to the practice questions of the lesson, scientific notation. Okay, that's the one we did. We have done with the definition and some of the practice questions. Let's just do some more practice questions, right? Okay, how do you write 6.6 times 10 exponent 4 in standard form? So which is the correct option? 6.6 times 10 exponent 4, right? The 4, just the 4 tells you how many decimal point you have to move. How many decimal point you have to move the decimal point, right? Here you have 4. That means you have to move decimal point 4 places. One is already 2, 3, 4. You have to move decimal point from here to here. It would be 66000, right? Basically, the exponent of the 10 tells you how many times you have to move the decimal point, right? So here it is 4. That means you have to move decimal point 4 places, right? Because it is positive. Got it now? That would be the second option. Okay, how do you write 5.7 times exponent 1? You just have to move decimal point 1 place, right? Right? So when you move 5.7 decimal place 1 point, right, it would be moved from here to here. So it is 57. Right? The correct option is option number 1. How do you write 2.8 times 10 exponent 3? So the exponent of 10 is 3. That means you have to move decimal point 3 places, right? So 2.8, you have only one position. 2, 3, you have to move decimal point from here to here. It would be 2800, right? So basic thing is the exponent just tell you how many point you decimal point, right? The second option is the correct one, right? How do you write 8.9 times 10 exponent 2? in standard form. So with option, you have to move decimal point two places right. So that would be 890, right? How do you write 6.0 times 10 exponent 5? So which is the correct option? That would be the second option. How do you write 9.5 times 10 exponent 4 in standard form? That would be the second option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we are working on grade 5 math. We were working on grade 5 math. We're working on chapter 1, that is place values and number sense. The lessons place value and number sense. The lessons we have covered from the chapter are understanding integers, compare integers, put them in order, and scientific notation, right? So please make sure before next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we did today. That's your homework until next session, right? And if you still need more help with any of the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9, or either you can join me in the interactive session that would be daily 4 to 5 and from then from 9 to 10, right? So that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye everyone.